Howdy guys, Radio Magic here. I hope you are all having a fantastic morning, afternoon, day or evening, wherever you are and whatever you are up to. I'm so glad you're back because today we are playing some more Best of One Historic. But before we get on to that, I just want to give you guys some channel updates. I normally put these at the end of the video, but I thought I'd put them at the start since more people watch the start than the end. I just want to let you know that I upload a new video every single day on the channel, so there's always some reason to come back and always something new to see. On Mondays, Wednesdays and Fridays, we're currently playing Standard and Historic, and this is one of the lists that we are playing, since today it is a Monday for people who aren't checking the day of the week. And you can always leave your suggestions down below as to what decks you want to see, because these are ultimately for you, and I love playing like a mixed multitude of decks, like mixing them up a bit, and I'm really excited for this one today, so hopefully you guys enjoy it. On Tuesdays and Thursdays, we're going to be continuing with our mini-series on the channel, which is how viable is Control in the historic meta. We've currently done Azorius, Jeskai, and Bant, and we'll be moving on to either Grixis or Esper. I keep tossing up between the two at the moment, but we shall decide eventually. So Tuesdays and Thursdays are controlled, so make sure if you're interested in that to pop down. And then we save all weekend, every weekend, for drafting. So if you're interested in drafting, then make sure to stop by on the weekend, since there'll be either 2 or 3 draft videos uploaded every single weekend. So yeah, you can definitely get your fix that way. So like I said, Monday, Wednesdays and Fridays, Standard and Historic. Tuesdays and Thursdays is Control, and weekends are drafting. But in case you guys don't want to wait for all of that, I'm also going to be streaming all week, so I'm not sure on the days I'll be streaming, but we'll be streaming throughout the week since our work rota is a little bit chaotic. So if you guys are on Twitch and want to come and check me out there, you can do that. I'm Radio Magic over there as well, so just come find me on Twitch, or you can look at the description down below to check that out as well. But yeah, that is the channel update, so let's move on. So the deck tech for people who are still here, I'm just going to let you know there are timestamps down below, so if you don't want to listen to the deck tech right now, you've had a look at all of these cards, you know what they all do. The timestamps can be found in the description down below, and you can also find the deck list down in the description below, so go check that out and skip now to the games if you know what all these cards do and have a rough idea what the list is trying to do. But for those who don't know, this is essentially built around 2 really interesting cards that are both landfall, taking advantage of the landfall mechanic. One of them is Scute Swarm, which is arguably one of the most enjoyable cards I've ever played with. It's so mental. A 3-mana 1/1 insect. Not too impressive, but with landfall. And whenever a land enters the battlefield under your control, you get to create a 1/1 green insect creature token. I know, not that exciting. Like, why are we making such a big deal out of Scute Swarm? But the second part of his ability is, if you control 6 or more lands, you create a token that's a copy of Scute Swarm. And this doesn't sound like a lot, but if we trigger this once, we get 2. The next time we trigger it, we get 4. The next time we trigger it, we get 8, 16, 32. And I'm going to stop there because my math gets a lot worse. But you can see how this gets out of control really quickly. And also, 1 land a turn isn't really fast enough to trigger this, so we have multiple ways of putting more than 1 land into play a turn. The other part of the sort of synergy in the list, the thing we're building around, is Felidar Retreat. This was in our Bant control list if you checked this out earlier on in the week, since I decided to plop it in there to see how it would do. But it's a 4-mana white enchantment with landfall, and when a land ETBs, you get to make a 2/2 cat, or you get to put a 1/1 counter on each creature you control, and then those creatures gain vigilance to end of turn. So with Scute Swarm and Felidar Retreat, this can get insane so quickly. Going over the rest of the list really quickly, we have Arboreal Grazers, just a really good way to put extra lands into play. It can help us ramp into them Scute Swarms early, or we can, yeah, and it can also be a really good blocker as well against some lists, especially Dimir Rogues. We then have 2 Explores, just draw an extra card and put a land into play, an additional land. This would be Growth Spiral if we're in Simic, but we're not going to play the blue just for mana inconsistencies. If we were in blue as well, we'd be playing Uro, but yeah, not in blue. 4 Lotus Cobras, just a really good way of accelerating our mana. The Lotus Cobra obviously doesn't put extra lands into play, so doesn't really work with Scute Swarm that well, or Felidar Retreat, but it does help ramp out some of our more powerful cards, so that's why Lotus Cobra is in the list. We're also running 3 Cultivates. It searches for 2 lands. You get to put 1 land into play and 1 into your hand, so it sets up your next land draw while putting an extra one into play to either ramp, trigger your landfall triggers, whatever you need to do. Then we have our 4 Scute Swarms, and then we have 2 Mammoths. And yeah, this is in the list as just an extra land. It's a bit of value. I'm not running the full playset since these are tap lands and they can't be put into play with Arboreal Grazers. But a 3/3 that when a land ETBs, it gets +2/+2, so it can really smack quite hard. We then have our 4 Felidar Retreats, and then we have 4 Migratory Greathorns. These are 4 mana 3/3 beasts that when they mutate, and their mutate cost is 3, we get to search for a basic land and put it onto the battlefield tapped. So there's a really interesting mechanic with the Greathorn and the Scute Swarm. If you Greathorn mutate onto a Scute Swarm and place the Greathorn on top, so it is a 3/4, when the land ETBs, if it's your 6th or more land and you trigger the Scute Swarm, instead of making a 1/1 copy of Scute Swarm, you actually get a 3/4 copy of Scute Swarm, since it's currently a 3/4 because it's merged on the top. So yeah, really interesting mechanic there, but it can allow you to add triple the amount of power and toughness into play each turn, which is definitely something that does happen from time to time. So yeah, keep an eye out for them sort of niche little interactions there. We also have Yasharn, Irreplaceable Earth. I think that's how it's pronounced. It might be a little bit wrong, but essentially a 4 mana 4/4 legendary boar that when it ETBs, we get to search for a forest and a plains, reveal them and put them into our hand. And then the most important reason as to why we're playing it, a little bit of hate in the list since we're playing best of 1. Players can't pay life or sacrifice non-land permanents to cast spells or activate abilities. So this hits on a ton in the format. The Jund sacrifice and Rakdos sacrifice lists. There's also a few things that do really require the ability to sacrifice non-land permanents, and some people paying life to activate abilities. This stops that. Yeah, pretty bog standard, but because we're playing best of 1, this can sometimes just hose what your opponent's trying to do. We're also running 4 Auspicious Starrexes, and this is a 5 mana 6/6 elk, which is not very interesting, but if we pay 1 more mana for its mutate costs, this exiles cards from the top of our library until we exile X permanent cards, where X is the number of times this card has mutated, and then we get to put those permanents onto the battlefield. Please remember that lands are permanents, obviously, so with our Felidar Retreat and our Scute Swarm out, if we hit lands off this, then yeah, that's going to get pretty mental, and if we're not hitting lands, we're hitting relevant spells off the top. Arboreal Graze is maybe going to put more lands into play. I guess Lotus Cobra is like the worst thing we can hit off the top of this, but Lotus Cobra is good enough to justify it anyway. Essentially, the Starrex is in for our form of card advantage, since there's no way to gain card advantage in the list apart from the Starrex. And if we mutate a Greathorn onto a Starrex or vice versa, and we're starting to get multiple triggers, then yeah, this is going to get out of control real quick. We're also playing 2 Ugin the Spirit Dragons, because who could do without Ugin in a ramp list? This is just our catch-all answer. If we're ramping loads and we need a single top deck to get out of something, Ugin is there to potentially draw. And then we're playing some utility lands as well. These aren't that great because they don't work with the Arboreal Grazer. They can't be put into play since they are originally sorceries, but they're still good enough to put in, and I thought we'd take advantage of them in some way. The mana base is pretty bog standard. We're playing some basics, some shock lands, some check lands, and we're playing 4 Fable Passages, and this is essentially and therefore double landfall triggers, which is always good. Turn 2 Lotus Cobra into turn 3 Fable Passage, and to sack the Fable Passage gives us tons of mana, so yeah, that's another reason that is in the list. But yeah, that is it, guys. I hope you guys like the look of the list. I hope you guys are going to enjoy the gameplay coming up, and yeah, you've got all of the channel updates, so enjoy the games, and I'll catch you again with the wrap-up. Okay, we're on the play, and this is quite good. Yeah, we're going to keep this. Bit of card draw, will replace itself, extra land drops, Lotus Cobra and Felidar Retreat. All good. We basically just want to hit lands now off the top. And Scute Swarm's really good as well. So we've got both of our payoffs now. We just want to draw lands. Not going to play around Sensor. Opponent has Growth Spiral. So opponent's on Bant. Look to Fairies, Nissas. Hydroid Crisis. Uro. Opponent's probably going to have the works. Okay, so we can go Lotus Cobra into Temple Guard and make 2 mana into Cultivate. We'll make Cats for now. go grab 2 forests to make 2 mana again. Yeah, we'll make some more cats. I think we'll start putting counters on now. So we could explore first. Or do we want to just play Scute Swarm? I think we just explore. And our opponent could have a board wipe next turn, so we're probably not going to play Scute Swarm here. Just smack our opponent. Because they got to have something special here anyway. Yeah, there we go. Don't play the Scute Swarm into that. But now we get to rebuild our board. Opponent needs another Wrath. Do they have back-to-back board wipes? So they don't. They must find one though. Since Scute Swarm just by itself requires a board wipe, and Fellow Retreat gets out of control really quickly. Opponent's drawing a lot of cards though. So, like another Cultivate here would be really good. Anything that basically puts lands into play. Fable Passage would actually be quite good. Oh, Gideon, nice. So Gideon's likely just trying to stall the game here.
I'm going in.
So I'm going to put a +1/+1 counter on here just so we can take out this Gideon. Since he's going to slow our progression down quite a bit. Opponent could have another board wipe, but it's something we've just got to sort of play around. We can't really play around it. It's going to keep going. Since another board wipe probably means we're out of it. Oh, nice, Teferi.
Let's skip to the good part.
Cultivate's excellent. Can we just kill our opponent here? I mean, we're gonna go and see. I think we're just gonna put counters on everything. Just make an insane amount of Scute Swarms. Right, so if we swing everything at our opponent, we're attacking for 4, 8, 12, 16. Yeah, so we haven't quite got lethal on our opponent. So we send like 3 at Teferi. They block 1, Teferi still dies, and 2 are our opponent, and then we have lethal next turn. Just an insane amount of Scute Swarms. Okay, so Teferi down. Opponent, do you have a board wipe? I don't know, but I'm gonna double block here. I mean, I guess our opponent can only actually kill 1. Not that it matters, we have an insane amount of Scute Swarms. Gideon, not enough. Our opponent doesn't have double white available now as well, so that's it. Not even settle the wreckage, and they didn't even shock in. Here we go. Yes! Good game, opponent! Okay, we are on the play, and this hand looks okay. We need to draw a few lands, and double Ugin is a little bit unfortunate, but Lotus Cobra into Cultivate and Scute Swarm is what we want to see. Hopefully our opponent doesn't have any interaction. I know that's wishing for a lot, but sometimes you just got to hope. Okay, so land off the top is exactly what we want to see. Okay, explore maybe? Oh, no land. 28 lands, I think. So, gotta hope to hit a land soon. Gonna take this hit from the Merfolk Branchwalker. One land though, and we are off. Yeah, we're off to the races now. So, I think we're gonna go for the Great Horn instead. Maybe it's better to go to Cultivate. Our opponent could easily have a counterspell here. What would we rather do? I guess we've got the second Cultivate. And if Cultivate resolves, it works out even better. Yeah, counterspell. We can get him for 2. Fortunately, we have another Cultivate next turn. So it looks like we're just against Merfolk. So I don't think we're going to be able to double spell this turn. So probably just put ourselves in a position where we might be able to block. If we can get our Scute Swarm going, then we'll be in a good position. But we have to get to that position first. If opponent can answer this. Oh, that is unfortunate. So taking a massive swing here. And that's probably just going to be game. So we get to generate a little bit of mana here. Yeah, because we're going to have to Scute Swarm. We need to put up enough blockers to be able to block 3 creatures next turn. And that's providing our opponent has no interaction. I don't think there's a way to do that. Because we can cultivate and that puts an extra land into play, which gives us 2 blockers, but still not enough. Yeah. I think that's it. Looks like our opponent has some interaction as well. Or maybe it's just the Merfolk Branchwalker, the Brazen Borath. And then our opponent just has lethal here. Yeah. Good game, opponent. Just a little bit too slow for Merfolk. Okay, so we are on the draw, and this hand is a very ramp-centric hand. We're going to keep and hope to draw into Ugin or Scute Swarm, Felidar Retreat. Looks like it might be against Colourless combo. Yeah, Scute Swarm's pretty good. We need to draw some extra lands, but... So, probably just going to play Lotus Cobra here. Set up for next turn. So, what's the best way to do this? So, we go land, generate a mana. We can go cultivate. That puts an extra land into play, which is 3 mana, and then we can go Scute Swarm. And then we set up for the Great Horn next turn. And hopefully our opponent can't remove the Swarm. Though we're not going to be too good against an Ugin anyway, so we're going to have to close the game pretty quick. It's probably going to be a matter of copying onto the Scute Swarm to, when we create copies, to create copies of the Great Horn. Opponent's going to scry an upkeep. So another Great Horn off the top would actually be really good. Just a Lotus Cobra. So we've got nothing to spend our mana on, so we're just going to mutate here. And put it over. And then when we create a copy of the Scute Swarm, it actually creates a copy of a 3/4. It's going to generate a little bit more mana. We'll play another land and make 2 copies now. And I don't think we'll beat an Ugin, so we'll just play out this Cobra. And then we'll swing. And then we should have our opponent dead next turn. Opponents missed the land drop, but they still would be going like calm this turn. Yeah, opponent's going to scoop it up. Pretty fast start. Okay, so providing our opponent doesn't have much interaction, this hand's quite good. Lotus Cobra is going to ramp out Felidar Retreat, and then the Starex as well. Turn 1 Blood Crypt doesn't leave me hopeful that our opponent doesn't have any interaction. Unfortunately, we can't put the Emry's Call into play. Opponent shocked in. Maybe we'll just play around Censor here. Okay, Scorching Dragonfire. So our opponent might be able to censor us here. If they do have a censor, they have a negate, main deck negate, nice. So probably our opponent's on just some sort of variant of control. So I don't have much hope for this hand now. So our opponent doesn't have any interaction for this. This now needs a Revolted Fatal Push to kill as well. So if we can mutate Starex next turn, we might be in a position where we can take over. Oh, no. So probably just play this out. And then hope our opponent doesn't make us discard and we can mutate next turn. Maze Mind Tome. Opponent's just going to pass the turn. That's a nice follow-up to this, but we're just going to mutate here. Go grab a land and look at the top card, or the top non-land. No, the top permanent card. Hoping to hit an Ugin here. Another Starex would be okay. Scute Swarm. Yep, okay, so that resolves. Triggers go on. Gonna go find that land. Should have triggered these the other way. Hopefully it doesn't punish us. If we hit a Scute Swarm or Felidar Retreat here, we get punished. Nope, just a land. So we'll attack for 6. See if our opponent has a removal spell. They probably removed it in response. Maybe not, they wanted to get their 2-for-1 value. Hetching their bets that we don't hit anything off of the mutate. Oh ho ho ho, Nico Bolas. And it enters with an additional counter on it. Opponent's gonna... They get a Lotus Cobra. Not the best draw. Still good though. So if we explore and hit land, we could do Emry's Call as well, but we're just gonna cast this. I think make our 2 angels. Try and tackle this Nico Bolas. I don't have high hopes for this though. We're just gonna drown to this. Though his ultimate's not that great here. I guess he just keeps plussing. So our opponent's probably going to combine this with like a Scorching Dragonfire, so we're just going to take damage. Oh, or Hour of Devastation, they wanted to get into free damage. Ooh, Cultivate. So, Nico Bolas is an ultimate range, but like we said, it's not going to do too much. Don't think our opponent interacts with this. I don't think it stops anything that they're doing. I'm just going to show our opponent all of our hand now. I assume they can answer these. We'll give it one more draw, see what we draw before we scoop it up. Yeah, I'm gonna scoop it up there. Grixis control, smashing, Scute Swarm, Felidar retreat, landfall. Okay, we get to go first, and this hand is a little bit slow. We can play turn 3 Mammoth and then mutate onto it. Maybe that'll be enough. We get to smack our opponent for quite a bit there. Probably keep. We'll see how these slowish hands do. We'll play the Emery's call out. This again, like, very dependent on if our opponent has interaction. But we're not doing anything till turn 3. So, Four.Vs, we're pretty resilient against the Four.Vs here. Or Agonizing Remorse. They probably take the Scute Swarm. Or maybe they're scared of the power of the Mammoth. Yep, gonna take that Scute Swarm. Okay, opponent. Mammoth down. Do you have something? We have triple landfall next turn though, so if you don't have an answer to this Mammoth, you might be in a bit of trouble. Oh, opponent might be chump blocking here. Yeah, I think we're still gonna mutate here. We'll put Oba since it has one more toughness. Let's go get an extra land. Attack in. We won't trigger this Fabled Passage unless our opponent doesn't block, like now. Now we'll do it. Hit our opponent for 9. It's so strong. I mean, our opponent's going to have an answer to it here that doesn't take away our hit for 9. I mean, opponent has to chump block here, so I don't even know if we want to. Because our opponent's defo chump blocking, aren't they? So this stops our opponent from sacrificing. So I might play this first. Since our opponent won't be able to chump with the Temerate and then sack. They'll have to actually throw it in the way of the Mammoth. If they sack here, they're like basically dead. I mean, not quite. Oh no! Opponent has the fatal push. Okay, so we get to get 2 lands. Thin the deck. Okay, so we're on the Great Horn Mutate plan next turn, which isn't that great. And then I'm probably going to save Cultivate for when we top deck Battle Retreat. Guess we're just playing out the Great Horn then. Yeah, opponents had a nice amount of interaction. Not something our deck is best at handling. Could have played out Temple Garden, but I'd rather have the information hidden from our opponent as to the lands we have. Opponent, what do you have? Fatal Push? Fatal Push doesn't work, opponent. This is a 4 CMC card, and you have not triggered Revolt this turn. Yeah, Fatal Push, definitely something that, while still really strong in this format, definitely at its best in older formats like fetch lands and whatnot. Okay, Mammoth's okay. Gonna play out the Fable Passage. Not gonna sack though. And next turn we will cultivate. There's like no point in attacking. Next turn we'll cultivate. We can also play a land, sacrifice the Fable Passage, and the Mammoth should get really big. Not gonna matter though, since our opponent has a Death Toucher. So it's gonna be difficult to break through this wall. We're really gonna need. That's what our opponent's doing. We're really gonna need like a Scute Swarm or a Felidar Retreat. Difficult. Do we just want to thin the deck loads? We still have a Cultivate. I think it's fine. Let's play out as a creature. So we'll attack now with the Mammoth, and our opponent's probably going to jump the Gifted Aetherborn. I mean, they buffered their life total quite a bit, so they might not want to. Maybe we should have played Cultivate just to sort of force the issue with the Gifted Aetherborn. So we've got like 4 lands left in the list. Yeah, because we're only hitting for 5 here, not that much. Probably should have cultivated beforehand. We have like no interaction though, so this Gifted... Oh no! Opponent's going to drain us out! Okay, good game, opponent. Okay, we get to go first, and we're against Lurrus of the Dream Den, so this could be a multitude of things, but I think we're going to keep this. Just going to play Mammoth out as a land here. Well, next turn we'll have to play it as a land, because we're not playing Scute Swarm on 3. This really is a turn 6 play. Depends, if our opponent's in Azorius, maybe the Aura list, then we could play this out on turn 3. Since it's unlikely that our opponent's going to have an answer to it, and the insect tokens might actually be quite relevant at chump blocking. But we'll see. Fortunately, we have 2 of the double face cards, which the Grazer can't put into play because they're not lands. Looks like they are in Azorius, so we're probably going to play this Scute Swarm out, actually. Do we want to just play this out? I think we just want to play that out on turn 4. But this is not typical from the Azorius list. So we'll see. There might be Dimir. No, just 2 Wind Robbers. So this will shut down the Wind Robbers. Our opponent won't be able to sacrifice them now. And next turn, I guess we could just play out Scute Swarm. Setting up for a Starix Mutate on the Scute Swarm. And then we get to make 6/6s every turn. No, opponent's going to break that up. So they found their black. They're in Dimir. I assume Dimir rogues. I'm going to take the Scute Swarm, probably the hardest thing to answer. Surprised they didn't attack there. We did draw another one though. But we're just going to... we should have played land first. We missed out on a 1/1. We'll see how relevant it'll be. I'm just going to chump. Don't want to take the 4 damage. Let's see if they have another Four.Vs here for the Starix. Hopefully it will choke them on mana though, and they won't be able to answer the Scute Swarm in the same turn. So lose Starix here. No, looks like our opponent's missing a land drop. So Scute Swarm's going to go off, and yeah, our opponent can see the writing on the wall. Scute Swarm next turn is going to become far too strong. Okay, we're on the draw, and this hand looks okay. Lotus Cobra and double cultivate, and then we've got one of our win cons with Fellow Retreat. Hopefully our opponent doesn't have a turn 1 Thoughtseize. No. But Fervent Champion is quite strong. Looks like our opponent's on Knights. So we're going to have to try and outrun this. Hopefully our opponent can't answer the Lotus Cobra. Ho ho ho. If our opponent has an Ember Cleave next turn, we could just be dead. So I wonder if I don't think we can afford to play Scute Swarm. We have to hope to survive another turn. So, gonna hope to survive that our opponent doesn't have an Ember Cleave here. And if they don't, we might be okay. Next turn we could Starix or we could Felidar Retreat. No, Murderous Rider, so we're going to be taking a bunch here. Down to 3, so this is going to be tough. Fable Passage. Fable Passage would have been really good if we had the Lotus Cobra still out. Think we're just dead. We get to make 2 tokens, and I guess we fall to 2 if our opponent has nothing. We fall to 1 if our opponent has nothing. Let's see. We're basically dead though. Do get to trade with this knight. Do you have the Ember Cleave, opponent? Looks like opponent doesn't. They might have a burn spell here. They've only got to deal 1 damage to us. So they might not. So we might be able to survive. Just got to make a load of cats here. Gonna put a load of lands into play. Think we have to put counters on these. Just so they can block somewhat effectively. And then next turn Starix or Symbiosis. Looks like our opponent might not have much. Think we just chump. Chump for 1 turn. Since they'd have attacked with the whole board if they had an Ember Cleave. Okay, so we're going to mutate here. And then we just get to make 6 6s. So let's see if our opponent can beat this. So Lotus Cobra not the best. But we get to make a load more. And I think we're going to just put counters on. This way we can block the Rotting Regisaur. Yeah, it doesn't matter. So I'm just going to pass the turn. So we should be able to take over here. But like I said, we're on 1. So we're basically dead. Opponent's giving us a good game. Oh my god! Stabilizing on 1. Opponent just couldn't pull themselves across the finish line. Okay, I think this hand is a little bit too slow, so we're going to mulligan this. No early ramp. Cultivate's a bit too late. This hand looks a lot better. We're going to put this Ugin on the bottom. It is something to ramp into, but we'll find something. Can we have our Scute Swarm? So going to play out the Lotus Cobra before the Explore. If our opponent doesn't turn 2 Four.Vs us. But I assume they take the Swarm. Oh, Scrap Heap Scrounger. And we're going to Rakdos as well. So let's see what our opponent's got. They could very well have a removal spell here. Oh, Chain Whirler. Chain Whirler's awful against our Scute Swarm. It's gonna destroy us. So let's play Explore, since we should probably ramp a little bit. So can't make enough mana to do anything. So just gonna have to pass the turn here. Maybe just play out a Starix next turn, and maybe that's good enough. Then we can start mutating onto it. Probably not going to be good enough with a Hazard out. We're going to be falling to quite a low life total. And then next turn we could play Scute Swarm, play Great Horn on the Starix. No! I think our opponent had everything they needed there. Like that was the last card as well. But yeah, we're gonna die to that. Okay, we get to go first. And I think we're gonna keep this with double Cobra. We've got something to ramp into. Some mutate. If we find a Starix later on, we can mutate onto this. I'm gonna play Mammoth out turn 1. And then we're going to have to bolt ourselves next turn, since we don't have a forest or plains. We're against Lurrus of the Dream Den, so we'll see what colour our opponent's going for here. It's probably like Pyromancer with the Fable Passage. Yeah, going for a swamp. So yeah, let's bolt ourselves and see if our opponent wants to kill the Lotus Cobra or maybe Four.Vs us. They might be able to do both, but we'll see. Gonna Four.Vs us. Let's see if they have like a push to follow that up. Our hand's pretty good at the moment. Our opponent might just go for the late game and take the Ugin, but we're quite far off of Ugin. It's interesting what they take here. I'll take the Lotus Cobra. It'd probably be my last choice, unless they're going to answer this Lotus Cobra, and the plan is just to slow us down. So they're not going to answer this Lotus Cobra. So we could Fable Passage would give us 3 mana, and then we can sack it to get another one. That's 4. This is 5. So we wouldn't have enough mana to also Great Horn in the same turn. So probably just going to Cultivate. Yeah, and then at least we have a creature later on. And yeah, we'll save the Fable Passage because we have a lot of landfall. I guess we'll just go get Double Forest. So just pass the turn. Not going to trade the Supplier for the Cobra. Gonna take 1. So opponent needs to Four.Vs the Ugin soon, since in a few turns we're going to be at him. Opponent's got some powerful stuff happening though. Going to draw a few cards, fill their graveyard a little bit, find a Claim Fame, so anything could have haste now. Opponent might be looking for like a Dreadhorde Arcanist to get back the Four.Vs. Opponent's just gonna Village Rites twice. There we go, there's an Arcanist. Okay, explore. Probably gonna explore first. Felidar Retreat is good. I think can Felidar Retreat now. And then, unfortunately, won't be able to Starix on this turn, but we can still make a load of cats. So we'll just save this. Let's pass the turn. So getting closer to Ugin and the Felidar Retreat, I don't think our opponent's going to have a way to answer this. They might be running Feed the Swarm, but I don't think this list typically runs Feed the Swarm. So here we go. Opponent's probably going to get the Ugin. They're going to leave Ugin. Okay, they might be saving it for... They might have an answer for it still. Oh, here we go. Opponent gets back the Arcanist. So, probably going to put counters on these so they can attack past. It's unfortunate if we draw land, but... They don't get Vigilance, but... Oh well, nothing we can do. Scute Swarm. So, our opponent must have removal spells in their graveyard. They can get back this to kill our Scute Swarm. Spike Field to kill it. But if we leave it in hand, they can get back Four.Vs. I guess Four.Vs makes them lose life, though. We'll see how our opponent blocks first. So I think we're going to hold it in hand. Make our opponent Four.Vs. They'll lose 2 more life. Since if it was a land, we definitely would have played it. But our opponent can answer this a number of ways. We may as well get as much damage as we can off on them. It's going to Croxer. So I guess now we have to discard Scute Swarm and they get to attack and kill Cobra. So maybe we should have played it out. There was like a number of things our opponent could have done. If we'd have played it out, they might have played their turn differently. So we'll go over. Go get a land. So we can't attack past this anyway, so we might as well make him a 2-2. But it feels like it's slipping away from us a little bit. We got quite close. Unfortunately, our opponent was able to control us and sort of take down the board. But we're probably going to need to chump block this Croxer here. Yeah, and I don't think there's any like single draw that can really get us out of it now. They're just going to claim, yeah. Just deal as much damage as possible here. So probably going to declare a target but not cast something. Or they might cast claim actually. Yep. Let's mill a few more cards. Another Crox is good. Yeah, and Scute Swarm's too late. Howdy guys, cheers for making it to the end of the video. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did enjoy it, then maybe you can consider dropping it a like and maybe subscribing to the channel. Like I said, we have a video every single day, so always a reason to return. And because I'm such a new YouTube channel, every single like and subscribe really does help the channel grow. And I've been loving this, so making content and bringing you guys videos all the time, it really means a lot if I could continue to do that. And the best way to show your support is by dropping a like and subscribe. But let me know what you guys thought in the comments down below. Do you think that we should make some changes to the list? Is it even worth playing Lotus Cobra, because it feels really dead late game, along with a Boreal Grazer? Because we have some like utility lands, maybe we like don't want the Boreal Grazers in the list. I don't know, it feels really dead late game when you draw them. But let me know any changes you thought in the comments down below, and any improvements I could make on my gameplay as well, and just styles, since I am fully aware I am not the strongest Magic player ever. I just really enjoy playing the lists and coming up with some sweet ideas. And I'm fully aware this is not a new list that's out there, but this is my time getting around to it, and this is my take on it. So like I said, I hope you guys enjoyed it. And like I said already, remember that there is a video a day, and I've put them in playlists on the channel, so you can go and check all the constructed videos, all the control videos, or all the draft videos in little playlists. I've made them really convenient for you guys to go and find. And if you'd like to catch up with me live and maybe interact a little bit, then like I said, you can go to Twitch Radio Magic over there and catch me streaming throughout the week. Subscribe to my Twitch account, and yeah, you will get notification when I'm online. Come and say hi. I love hearing what you guys have to say, and yeah, give me all that constructive feedback, since I want to be a better Magic player, and maybe through the community I can become as such. But yeah, I'm just rambling now. Thank you so much guys for just taking part and being a part of this, and yeah, until next time, stay safe.